The number one threat that violates employee rights, that's what we're talking about today. In previous posts, we have covered 2 lies that we often encounter when it comes to employee rights and mandates from their employer. But this post covers by far the biggest and most threatening lie that employees are told by their employers. This is a lie at the top of our list, and so many people believe it, hook, line, and sinker. The biggest lie is that, quote, we are not accepting religious accommodation requests, period. Hello everyone, my name is Joseph Radzwion IV, your trusted attorney with Radzwion Law PLLC, and today we are discussing whether an employer can create a policy that prevents an employee from not only requesting a religious accommodation, but simply submitting one. The short answer is no, and here's why. An employer who employs 15 or more employees are going to be subject to Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This means that employer cannot discriminate or treat differently employees based on their race, religion, color, sex, or national origin. Many times, the way an employer will treat employees differently is through a company-wide policy that the employer will hide behind. They will often say, look, we're not discriminating against any one particular person because the policy covers everyone. It applies to everyone equally. Well, that doesn't mean that the policy is going to avoid discriminating against every single employee. For example, let's say an employer has a policy that says we're not accepting religious accommodation requests, and this applies company-wide. The policy may apply to every employee, but it's not going to affect every employee. The only employees that it's actually going to affect are the ones who want to submit their religious accommodation requests. The policy isn't actually going to affect the employees that are not going to submit a religious accommodation request. So inherently, right off the bat, it's going to affect and discriminate against those who have a legitimate religious belief and want to make that belief known to their employer. Under Title VII, an employer cannot limit, restrict, or prevent an employee from submitting or requesting a religious accommodation request. An employee who has a legitimate objection to a policy that the employer has made is free to assert their rights under Title VII. Under Michigan law, an employer is deemed to have been put on notice when an employee makes a verbal or written request for an exemption. A notification method may be reasonable and constitutional if employing the method is reasonably certain to inform those affected. The employee is only required to ensure the method used to provide notice is reasonably certain to inform their employer. We've covered that in previous posts. You can look back at those. But in some employers who claim that they have a policy of we are not accepting any religious accommodation requests and that decision and policy is final, they have no regard for the law and are a threat to employee rights everywhere. But how did we get here? Employers everywhere are violating the rights of their employees and are getting away with it. This is in part due to the society that we live in, where employees and really the population at large do not know what their rights are. Schools don't teach our children their rights, and adults think that someone else out there will protect their rights for them. This is a very dangerous attitude. Rights are like muscles. If you don't exercise them, they will go away. This happens through bad court decisions, politicians, and ultimately the uneducated voter. It is your job, not somebody else's, to stand for your rights and to defend freedom. You need to take the time to educate yourself. Whether you look back through our posts and the playlist titled Learn My Rights, or you look elsewhere, we encourage you to go get educated before it's your job or your family that's on the line. If you would like to retain Radzwion Law PLLC as your trusted attorney, do not hesitate to contact us. We are here to protect you when you need it most, and we will fight for your freedom. Thanks for watching, and here's the obligatory like, share, comment, subscribe comment. We'll see you next time.